It's very common when you're going through narcissistic abuse to find yourself feeling like it's all your fault. The same thing happens as you go forward, not because you really believe that you are the cause of the problem, but because you continually blame yourself for the part you may have had in staying in the relationship when you knew better. Well, today at queenbeing.com, we're going to discuss exactly why that is, why are we so hard on ourselves, and what can we do to start forgiving ourselves and moving forward in our healing. So, let's get started. My name is Angie Atkinson, and on this channel I offer free daily video coaching to help you discover, understand, and overcome narcissistic abuse in toxic relationships. I like to call it toxic relationship rehab. So, if that sounds good to you, hit that subscribe button and let's get going. So when we end a relationship with a narcissist, whether it was them who did the ending or us who did the ending, very often we find ourselves wondering, how are we going to continue? What's going to happen next? How can we stop allowing ourselves to feel like we don't deserve to be happy? How can we forgive ourselves for having allowed that person to continue to abuse us for as long as they did? We shame ourselves, we blame ourselves, we put ourselves down, we beat ourselves up, we say we should have known better, why didn't we know better? We are filled with shame, with regret, with anger. We can't stop thinking about what we tolerated, what we went through, without feeling guilty ourselves. People ask us, what were you thinking? How could you have stayed that long? And then we realize these people don't even know what we went through, and they didn't know while we were in the relationship many times, and that these people's opinion is irrelevant. What really matters is your own understanding of yourself and the situation. So you ask yourself, why did I stay? I know I'm smart enough to know better. I know I should have known better. We shame ourselves. Maybe you delayed ending the relationship because you thought things would get better. You hoped. Maybe you had kids together, you had a family together, you didn't want to just break it all up. Maybe like me, you thought to yourself, well, as long as this person's good to my child, I can stay and deal with the way they treat me. Maybe it's about money. Maybe you think you love that person, or you did love that person. Maybe because they always were apologizing and saying they would change, you believed them and you had hope. Maybe it's your religion that made you stay. Maybe they threatened you if you left that they would chase you and make your life harder, or take your kids, or take your money, or take your house. Maybe you invested so much time in the relationship, so much energy in the relationship, you just didn't want to have to start over again already. Maybe you were scared. Maybe the idea of being single again just didn't quite appeal to you. Or maybe they would talk you out of it when you tried to leave. Maybe you didn't want to hurt them, or when you tried to leave, they guilt tripped you. Maybe you were scared that you would get out in the world and not know what to do with yourself and wish you were back in that relationship. Listen, there are a million reasons you might have stayed, but none of those are relevant today. You did what you did, you felt how you felt. No one, including yourself, should beat you up for that. The fact of the matter is, you cannot change what happened in the past, you can only change what happens in the future. Why would you fall for such a difficult person in your life when you knew better? Because you're human. Because that person showed you something that wasn't true. Because even the most empathic person can fall for a narcissist who's on their best behavior, because during the moment that they're saying the things that they're saying, they believe those things. You see? You gotta forgive yourself for not knowing then what you know now. You have to. It's the only way you're gonna be able to move forward in your healing. Sure, it's great to understand why you stayed. Absolutely it is. You should take the time to learn to figure that out, because that will help you make better decisions in the future. But shaming yourself, beating yourself up for doing that, that's a whole other ball of wax, my friend. The past is in the past. We've got to learn to accept it and move forward. If we keep rehashing it and reviewing it and concerning ourselves with it again and again and again, we're just living in the past. And living in the past wastes your current day, your current life. And honestly, it just hurts you and makes you feel bad about yourself over and over and over again. You know what I'm saying? So ask yourself, did I really do anything wrong here, or did I just love this person too hard? If there is something in your life that you can say, I did this wrong, I made the wrong choice here, I should have been stronger, I should have left when this happened or that happened. Okay, forgive yourself. You are human, and humans are wired to seek and keep a mate, to seek and keep people in their lives that they can trust and understand. Humans are wired to retain their relationships, and so all you were doing was following your human instincts. What you know now is that that was a toxic relationship. Now you understand that you don't want that in your life. But until recently, you didn't understand that, or until you did understand it, you didn't know. Nobody knew. So once you've learned that, you can't go back and retroactively beat yourself up for choices that you made when you didn't understand that. So what if you ignored your intuition? What if you knew better and you went ahead and you stopped anyway? What if your friends warned you and your family warned you? Maybe the ex-supply warned you and you still continued in that relationship. What does that mean? Do you owe yourself some sort of personal flogging, or should you forgive yourself? Obviously you should forgive yourself, but why? First of all, you have to give yourself credit today for actually having recognized those mistakes, for having noticed, okay, this isn't going right in my life and I want to change something. The fact is, being able to see what you went through, what you did, this is a new perspective for you, and you're just kind of trying to figure it all out. You took the first step to healing by recognizing that the issue was not you, right? You have to commend yourself at this point for even seeing that there is this problem in your life, or was this problem in your life, because many people never see it. Now is a good time for you to start to focus on what you can do next. So whether you want to go out and start your own business, or you want to go out and start a yoga practice, or start to learn to knit, do something that takes you away from this person and their whole toxic issue. Become independent, become self-sufficient from this person. Even if you were always independent and self-sufficient, we're talking emotionally here. And if it's more than emotion that you need support with, well, work on becoming independent financially and otherwise. This is the start to sort of taking back your life. And you will forgive yourself when you learn better. Do you see what I'm saying? It's easier to forgive yourself when you see yourself taking strides, making changes in your life. But then you've got to cut yourself a little slack. The fact is, I think us empaths beat ourselves up more than anybody else in the world in certain ways. We stay in bad relationships, we'll beat ourselves up. We over-criticize ourselves if we have the nerve to put any self-care into our lives until we recognize the value of that. And God forbid we want more. We beat ourselves up for that too. Well, I'm here to tell you that none of those things are wrong. We're all human, we all deserve to be happy, and it's okay to want more. Just be prepared to go out and get it. It's going to be really important at this time that you are also able to let go of the person who is in your life. Let go of that person and let go of that relationship. Once you learn how to forgive yourself for that relationship, you're going to be able to move forward and stop living in the past. You forgive yourself, you forgive that person, and I have another video on that, so I'll share that up here for you. And you also learn how to let go of what that relationship was, whether we're talking about because of the way the relationship happened, because of the way that it ended, or the fact that it was a big lie. Remember that because at that moment, staying was just the best thing you knew to do. Whether it was for any of the reasons we listed or something else entirely, you stayed because it felt like the right choice in that moment. Now, you can do better. Go to queenbeing.com/plan if you need to leave and download the material there. It's free. It won't cost you a thing. Not even your email address. One of them is a workbook and one of them is like a tutorial worksheet type thing where you can actually write on them and write down the things that you want and need to gather up as you're leaving. If there are other things happening in your life you've already left, then go to queenbeing.com/passion and start to figure out, what are you passionate about? These kinds of things will help to take your mind away from beating yourself up and continuing to allow sort of the narcissist to control you from over there, and start to give you some empowerment and allow you to put your arms around yourself and embrace yourself for who you are today in this moment. So how will you even know if you have forgiven yourself for that bad relationship? Well, the first thing that you're going to notice is that something kind of starts to shift a little bit and change, and you start to feel less angry, less sad, less self-rejecting. You start to love yourself, but it's not just going to happen by itself. You have to actually put in the work to do it. So today I'm going to challenge you, and I'm going to ask you, what can you do better to love yourself harder, to love yourself more, and forgive yourself for whatever it is that you're holding over your own head right now? That's the question of the day. The question of the day is, how are you going to forgive yourself, and what can you do to love yourself a little bit more from this point on? Being in a relationship with a narcissist is never easy, but moving forward can be less painful if you love yourself in the process, and all of that begins with unconditional self-acceptance, which leads to unconditional self-love. And just really quickly, what I do with that personally is whenever I have a struggle with one of those two things, I ask myself, what would I say to my child or my best friend or someone else who I really care about in my life? What would I say to that person, and how would I treat that person under these circumstances if they came to me and said this to me? And you can do the same thing for yourself. Give yourself that bit of grace. I'm going to leave links for you in the description below and in the cards above. Make sure you take a look at those. Those are going to help you on your healing journey and understanding narcissistic abuse and narcissistic abuse recovery just a little better. With that being said, that's all I've got for you right now. As always, thank you so much for being a part of my day and a part of my life. And hey, thanks for letting me be a part of yours. It really does mean a lot to me. Make sure you check out the videos I've left for you right here, and I'll see you soon.